What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So for this week's video, I was going to do a vlog style because I've had a pretty interesting week. And in fact, did you know that the Echo RB60 actually comes with flat tires? And I've been using mine for 2 years at a 5 PSI. I would like to thank John Murray from Houston, Texas for writing in and letting me know about this problem. And I wonder how many of you have been running around on flat tires for all this time too. The manual calls for 15 PSI and I went ahead and went to 16 because I like to overachieve. And that's an important discovery because I actually traveled over to Lady Lake, Florida, which is near the legendary Villages. You guys have all heard of that place. And I visited with Matt Mormon from Obsessed Garage. Matt actually has a really successful e-commerce business and an awesome YouTube channel. I will link it below. He does all kinds of really high-end detailing. And obviously the name of his channel is Obsessed Garage. And garages are an important part of lawn care. So we had a really fun collab that we did this week. Matt will be the first one to tell you that he doesn't like lawns at all, and it's obvious because at his new place, the front lawn is in terrible shape, and I actually heard him talking about that on a video and said, hey, let me help you out. So I went over and I threw down some Fert at his place on the last day before the Fert ban. In case you guys weren't aware, Florida's in a fertilizer blackout right now. No phosphorus for a bunch of counties in Florida. If you don't understand what that means or you want to know more, I have a free guide for you on the Florida blackout, how to follow it, how to stay within the rules, and keep your lawn green all summer without nitrogen. So one of the things that Matt does on his channel is he calls them wash and talks, where he details his car out and then he talks about his business and things that are going on and basically whatever's on his mind while you watch him detailing one of his nice supercars. It's really pretty cool. And when I was there, he's like, bro, we're gonna do a walk and fertilize. And so what I did was while I fertilized his lawn, he walked with me and we talked about my business, yard mastery, we talked about lawns, just all kinds of stuff. And I thought it was a pretty interesting concept, and I thought maybe I'll incorporate a little of that style into a couple of these videos that we're doing here. And so that's what we're gonna do today. When we talk about Zoysia, we're gonna go with a little bit of a different style. And obviously you can tell I am not an Obsessed Garage kind of guy here. I was really just trying to foam it up so it looked good on camera. So Matt was really encouraging me to do this. And we'll see how you guys like this. This is probably going to be a little different paced video, longer form, but I'm going to still deliver some good content, at least I think I am. So the first thing that I'm going to mention, it actually has to do with the Invading Bermuda. You guys have been watching the channel for a while. You will remember that my biggest fear was that this Bermuda over here, this wild Bermuda, was going to come back. It used to be like a 70% Bermuda, 30% St. Augustine over here on this side. And when I switched it to Zoysia, I knew that the Bermuda was always there and lurking underneath. But as long as I kept from opening up the canopy, as long as I didn't disturb that thick patch that the Zoysia had created, it was able to keep the Bermuda and torpedo grass, which is there, out and down and not noticeable. However, I made the mistake of opening the lawn up when we leveled it, whenever that was, when the lawn tools were here, and just as I feared, in those areas where I pretty much killed the canopy of the Zoysia, the Bermuda, the wild Bermuda, raged back in a lot faster. So what you'll see are these darker blue spots here. And what those darker blue areas are, I thought originally it was a problem with my fertilizing because I had put down some double dark. And I was like, oh man, maybe my fertilizing was bad. But what it really ended up being was the wild Bermuda just responds to the iron in a darker blue color than the Zoysia does. Now, of course, I'm coming to you from a Florida perspective. You may not have wild or common Bermuda as a problem wherever you live, but here in Florida, it's going to be in every lawn. So the consideration is what is going to play nice with that wild or common Bermuda, because it's going to be there, especially here where I knew it was going to come in once the canopy got opened up. And I can tell you that Zoysia and Bermuda, besides the color difference that I just pointed out, they do play nicely together. The way the growth habit is, the way the blades, blend together, it's not the worst. It's really not. It's not as bad as wild Bermuda with St. Augustine grass, which doesn't mix at all. So the tip here is then, if you're somebody that's considering Zoysia and common Bermuda is one of the biggest problems you have, then Zoysia is a great option. Knowing it's going to come in there, they'll play nice together. So let's talk about that strength of Zoysia though when it's not opened up in its canopy. In other words, this grass will choke out a lot of problems, a lot of weeds. It's got that ability because it grows with rhizomes and stolons. But the key with it then is the mowing, and it has to be mowed low. So let me kind of talk you through what happens there. So I come into the spring like now, and you can see I'm mowing low. I'm just sub 2 inches, and this is perfect. You definitely want to keep this grass under 2 inches. And as long as you keep it low and you mow often, that's what's gonna make it knit tight. Because what it does is it knits tight together like this. The more you mow, the healthier it will grow. That's exactly how that works. And so keeping up with the mowing is really imperative, because that's what allows the zoysia to do what it does, which is to choke out weeds and other invaders naturally for you. But see, I think a lot of you all are like me, and what happens is the mowing works great for you in the spring, you're charging in, you're good, you keep up with it. Then you get to summer, especially in Florida, the rainy season, it starts growing faster. You have to mow every other day or so. And by the way, that's not a fertilizing thing. This stuff grows. Anybody that tells you it's a low maintenance because it doesn't grow, no, it grows as fast as anything else does, any other grass when the rain hits it. And so what happens is in the summer, the mowing gets away from you. So what happens is that 2 inches, it ends up being 3 and then 4, and you're mowing at the top setting. And that's when the problems can set in for zoysia, is when it's mowed too tall and it gets this sticky, thatchy feel all through it. And that's just not a good situation to be in. Now, don't get me wrong, it actually looks really good mowed tall in the summertime, but after a couple months, it's gonna get too sticky and it's gonna get away from you, and you have to start taming it back down. And that's when you really run into problems, because by that time I'm running into winter, I'm trying to lower it down, it goes into winter, it gets disease, it's just bad, right? And then it goes dormant. That's the other thing, this grass will go dormant sooner than St. Augustine grass does. In fact, this grass doesn't stay green year round like my St. Augustine does here on the southwest coast of Florida. So it ends up getting away from you. You sit with it all winter, then you come into the spring, and what do you have to do? You have to scalp it. And the reason you have to scalp it is because, again, it's so overgrown, it's so thatchy, it's just nasty. You can't leave it going like that. In fact, it will be really bad the next year if you let it overgrow and let it stay overgrown and you don't scalp it. So you scalp it down in the spring to tame it, which is not bad for the zoysia at all. In fact, it's good for it. It's kind of like a beat down on it that it needs to get, putting it in check so it'll grow back. The problem is, or the challenge is, that the zoysia is slow, like I said. So when you scalp it down, you're opening up the canopy completely, and all of the other weeds and common Bermuda and everything else will rage in faster than the zoysia can restore itself. And that's when you start ending up with problems. So the key is to never let it get out of hand. Keep it cut low, sub 2 inches all the time, so the thatch doesn't get carried away, and then you won't have to scalp it in the spring. Just keep in mind, that is not a low maintenance strategy, and for some reason people want to sell this as low maintenance grass. But if you want to keep it high performing and double dark green year round, mowing is the key, and there is no low maintenance about mowing with zoysia. So I keep mentioning Bermuda and how these are similar. I kind of look at zoysia as being like the little slower brother to Bermuda. You know, Bermuda being that alpha grass, takes over everything, rhizomes, stolons, it's just the ultimate alpha grass. Well, zoysia's got all those same characteristics, it's just a little bit slower. And so that's why I say when things get opened up, like in the spring, when you have to scalp, or like before when I open things up by leveling, the common Bermuda rushed in because it's a little bit faster than its little chubby brother, which is the zoysia. However, if you have that little chubby brother, he ever gets a hold of you, you realize you got that strength, and that's zoysia. Zoysia's got that strength. It's a little bit slow to get going sometimes, but once it does, it's strong. And so that's why these two do play nice together. Again, similar growth habit, similar look, but again, I'm trying to keep the Bermuda out as much as I can, not anymore, but before I was, but that scalping I had to do this spring, that's really what allowed the rest of it. I'm at the point now where there's no certified pure zoysia in here anymore. There is Bermuda pretty much commingled throughout everything, and you can see, I mean, it looks pretty good. Now, barefoot wise, zoysia, awesome barefoot grass. In fact, in Florida, if you want a barefoot grass, zoysia is your choice every single time, or Bermuda really, but zoysia is really, this Empire zoysia, it's very soft and it makes a great barefoot grass. So far, the mowing, that's the most important thing. If you can't keep up with the mowing, that's what's gonna open you up to other issues down the road. Once those issues are opened up, that's when invaders can come in, because the zoysia is a little slow. And even though the zoysia does have the ability to choke things out, if you let them gain a foothold, that's when you have challenges. Okay, next let's talk about watering requirements. So zoysia requires the same amount of water as every other warm season turf, if not a little bit more. If you're mowing low, it won't require as much water, but if it gets tall and gets thatchy, then it's gonna require more water just because the penetration isn't as good. So that's what she said. So for sure, anybody that's telling you zoysia's low water requirements, I don't know where that comes from. But again, I keep my turf, try to keep my turf higher performing, even all during the winter, so that might be a part of it, but I have not found that it's low watering requirement at all when you want to keep it nice and thick like I do here. Fertilizing wise, just like Bermuda, it likes to eat.
Smells like success.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make with zoysia is they don't feed it. It's a warm season turf. We're here in Florida. The jungle is always trying to retake the land. It's always warm. It's always sunny. There's always something trying to grow and trying to come in here. So you got to feed this beast to allow it to have the strength to resist all of those things that are always trying to come in here and take this land. I think the last question that people have quite often is about disease. So Zoysia is definitely not as disease prone as St. Augustine, that is for sure, but it does get large patch during the winter. I get it. If you watch the channel, you'll see I got it last winter. I just spot treated, no big deal. It goes dormant in the winter anyway, so now you just have some brown spots on top of your brown dormant, Zoysia. So it doesn't really bother me really, and it doesn't cause any long-term damage as you can see. So disease-wise, actually it's not too bad, and I haven't had a lot of issues with it at all. Last thing here I'll show you. I had the St. Augustine. Obviously my neighbor's lawn is St. Augustine, and this is invading. It's come over. This was an area that got weak actually last year in the fall time, and so what happened was the St. Augustine was opportunistic here. But I sprayed it with quinclorac and it's working quite nicely. You can see the St. August highly damaged here. So quinclorac is definitely a strategy. I don't know how many apps it's going to take, but you can see here where I didn't spray and no damage, and then right here you can see it right there. So that's all St. Augustine there, and that is too, but you can see the damage there. That's because I wanted to be able to see the difference. Actually no, I'm just terrible at spraying, but I can see the difference. So I'm gonna do some more quinclorac in here, and you can see there's common Bermuda in here too. So that's the thing, right? That's Florida though. That's not just zoysia. You let your zoysia fall back, you let your whatever fall back, something's gonna invade. All right, so
I'm sweating, man.
You didn't even do anything.
I'm hot, I'm bothered, I'm uncomfortable.
So you guys gotta check out Matt's channel. We did a fertilizing walk and talk. You do wash and talks. Yeah. And he goes, you're gonna fertilize the lawn and talk. It was actually kind of fun.
You guys should tell him, comment in the video. You want him to talk about life and business and philosophy while you're fertilizing. You're washing it or walking. It'd be kind of hard to do that with a lawnmower.
I don't know. I've seen guys talk on motorcycles like through a helmet cam or whatever. I don't know. It's very interesting.
You guys should have him do that because he's got all kinds of crazy stories, I'm sure. It'd be awesome to just have him do, to add some. Those will be your favorite videos, I bet.
I'll do it.
But I have no interest in doing this.
He's lying. He's going to actually end up being a lawn care nut. I already know it. I can tell. As soon as this lawn, you guys look at it behind there. As soon as that turns green, you're going to be hooked.
I'll like it. I appreciate it. I just want to buy it.
All right, we'll have to see.
I don't want to. You know what they say? Was it bought, not built? I want bought, not built. Like I don't want credit. I don't need the credit for building.
This is nurtured. Think of it. You're going to nurture it.
So yeah, this is bought, not nurtured. I want to just buy it. Just write the check.
So give us 2 weeks.
Because I'm going to be detailing a car.
I totally get it. Next time I come back though, we'll probably put down some humic. We got Fert bands now, but I'm gonna come back in a little bit. We're gonna see how we do, and we're also gonna test it to see if it's actually Pro Vista. So you guys make sure you subscribe, and again, I'm gonna link Matt's channel below, Obsessed Garage. Check that out. We've had a good time. We're gonna do some podcasting and some more things coming up, so you guys stay tuned for that.
Good to meet you all.